Hey folks, I'm Dennis. Today I'm going to show you how to clean the throttle body on a Ford 4.6 liter or a 5.4 liter modular engine. Pretty much all the years that they made these are the same, so this process will work for any of them. Thanks for watching. Let's get started. Alright, so the first thing you got to do is get to the throttle body, which is back here. So what we're going to have to do is take off this shroud, this cover. We're going to have to take off the cold air intake tube. So you're going to need a 10mm wrench or socket. And then there's one more over here on this side on the front bottom, right in front of the heater hose. Most of them have captive washers on them, so you don't have to worry about dropping the washer, but just be careful in case they don't or they've been replaced or something. Pull that off and set it off to the side. Then you need a slotted screwdriver because you're going to have to take this hose clamp loose. You don't have to take it all the way off, just loosen it up. If you loosen it too far, then the end of the hose clamp is going to come out and you got to get it back in there, so you don't have to do all that. You can either take the flex tube loose here at the filter, or you can take the filter out. I'm actually going to undo it here because I don't want to mess with the filter. Then I can be careful with your, there's a part of the wiring harness that connects back here. Be careful not to stress it too far. In fact, I'm probably going to disconnect it. So you just take this plug off if you want to, and then you always have to figure out the plugs. And I'm going to pull these lines out of here too. Just to make life easier. To disconnect that plug, you just you push down on this part, pull it off. Most of this stuff will stay kind of where it belongs, so it's easier to remember where it connects to. And then I'm just careful, like when I take stuff off, I'm going to take it and set it down on the floor exactly like it goes into the truck, so I don't have to remember what orientation it went into if you're not familiar with it. All right, I'm going to swap sides so you can see what I'm doing. This is a throttle body, and what happens is, well, I'll show you. The reason you got to clean these things is, see how it's fairly clean right here, right? When you open it up, you see all that black in there and all of this on that butterfly valve. It's just nasty, and what happens is it causes the throttle to stick. Like if you're driving and you push down on the gas pedal, and your gas pedal sticks a little bit at the very top, that's what's causing is this thing sticking because it's nasty. You just get carbon deposits and blowback and all kinds of stuff like that on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean that out. Taking it off would be a much more thorough way to clean it, but I've done this several times on my truck and it actually works, and it makes a huge difference. I use the longest screwdriver I've got because I'm going to take my long screwdriver, I'm going to take some carb cleaner and rags, and I'm gonna basically wipe the inside of this thing down is what I'm gonna do. It's a whole lot easier if you can prop this butterfly valve open. So what I do with mine is I just take not my longest because I'm gonna use it to clean it, but I take a fairly long screwdriver, stick it in here, and then back here you can just kind of prop it up on the back of the throttle body. And then I take something like this, carbon choke cleaner, throttle body cleaner, carburetor cleaner, anything like that. They're all basically the same. Anything that's got to do with fuel getting into your engine cleaner, that's what you want. I take a long screwdriver so I can reach back in there, and then an oil rag. I wouldn't use paper or anything like that because you don't want to get paper down in there. The oil rag's not going to leave stuff, but I will say this, make absolutely sure that you always keep like a thumb or something on the oil rag as you put it over the screwdriver, because you don't want to drop it down in there too far where you can't fish it out. And then all I do is I spray it down in there and I go in and I wipe the thing out. I swab it out. You know, kind of like cleaning out an ear or something. Go in there and just start wiping this throttle body out. And honestly, I think the main thing is to get the butterfly valve clean, but I try to get the whole thing clean because I think it just improves the fuel flow. But see, as you go in there and clean, you'll see all that carbon that you get. And you know, so like I said earlier, is this the best way to do it? Probably not. There are probably much better ways, you know, take the thing off and soak it and all that, but I'm not going to do all that. So I just want to get it to where it's going to run right. And I've done this several times and it seems to do the trick. I've done it on multiple vehicles and it works fine. So this is the way I do it. Just make sure you keep your finger on this rag and get in there and kind of scrub it out. Keep the tip of the screwdriver covered so you don't scrape up. You don't want to gouge into the aluminum and then you know, get fines down in the engine. That would definitely be bad. You can be fairly gentle about it. You don't have to, you know, don't use your screwdriver like an ice pick or anything like that. Just get in there and basically you're trying to wipe out the sides real good. There's a couple of screws that go through the butterfly valve into the shaft that goes through here. You got to be careful not to snag on them too much. Do your best to get all around the seat of that butterfly valve and the valve itself real good, the top and the bottom, because that's what makes the throttle stick. And you get that good and clean, your throttle will quit sticking. Once my rag gets real dirty, I'll go get me another rag so I'm not just shoving more dirt down in there. Then, you know, the last little bit, I'll just get that on my finger where I can get up in there and get that seat and get around that, all the edges of that butterfly valve real well. And then when you get done with this part, as a matter of safety, leave this throttle open and let this carburetor cleaner evaporate. It evaporates real fast, but you sprayed a fair amount down in there. Okay, so it's down in the intake and everything else. So you want to let most of that stuff dry out so you don't get like a backfire, flame out from the throttle body, that kind of thing. Honestly, I usually let mine sit for a good 30 or 45 minutes before I try to start it. That's all of that. Now let me show you how it looks inside compared to a minute ago when I showed you all the deposits. Now you can see that the deposits in the on the butterfly are gone. You probably can't see down inside the throttle body too well, but there's a lot of crud that's not in there now that was. So like I say, let the thing sit and let the carburetor cleaner evaporate, because it's much more flammable than gas. So that's why you want to let it all evaporate. So I'll leave mine sitting here like with this, like with the throttle popped open for a good 30 or 45 minutes before I try to start it up. And because you've dislodged some of the carbon in the throttle body, it may not run real great when you first crank it up, but just give it a minute and it'll be fine. So the only thing you have left to do is to put it back together. You put your cold air intake tube on, tighten up your, do just the reverse of what you did to take that off after you've let the throttle body air out and let the cleaner evaporate. That's all there is to it, and you'll notice a big difference if you do that every now and then. Like I say, I only have to do mine every few years, and I drive about 20,000 miles a year, thereabouts. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Leave some comments below, like my video if you would, and share it around. Hope to see you back soon. Thanks.